Before we get to know their story, I want to shortly introduce the Jolly Boys, a band which hails from Port Antonio, the beautiful parish of Portland, Jamaica, was formed around 1945, according to various sources. With a changing cast of members, the Jolly Boys have been in existence for almost 75 years. Yes, you can applaud for this. Some refer to them as the Jamaican Buena Vista Social Club. They are known for playing mento, the first Jamaican popular music. The former guitar player, Albert Minot, who passed in 2017, recalled, "Mento was country folk music. I remember my grandparents would tell me about slavery and about how when the slaves were broken and tired, they would sing mento songs in the sugarcane fields." It was the Hollywood actor Errol Flynn, who lived in Jamaica, loved a local mento band called the Navy Island Swamp Boys, and later called them the Jolly Boys. The English music producer John Baker, owner of G-Jam Studio in Port Antonio, recorded the old mento songs of the Jolly Boys. Baker fell in love with mento and set himself the challenge to reintroduce it to Jamaica and the world. Mento is the foundation of Jamaican music which needs to be preserved. Their road manager, who is also on the panel with us, the filmmaker Rick Elgood, some of you might know him from the films One Love as well as Dancehall Queen, is currently working on a film documentation on the Jolly Boys called It's Never Too Late, as we see. Welcome, once again, the Jolly Boys to Rototom Reggae University. And gentlemen, maybe the first thing that each of you introduce yourself. You can use this.
Many languages.
Yeah, it's very nicer to have it in your hand. That's why.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, give thanks for you. No, I'm very new to the Jolly Boys. I'm about 3 years old in the band. But I've been doing mento for quite a while before that. So my name is Larry Christie, and I'm not good at talking. I mostly sing, so forgive me if I'm a man of few words. Excuse me, I'm the rumba box player. I play the rumba box. I keep the rhythm going.
Hey, good evening, everybody. I'm a member of Jolly Boy. I joined Jolly Boy in the 80s. I am the old Jolly Boy. And I think I will birth again. So we go to many places overseas in my days. And a good while I don't travel again. And these guys wake me up, so I has to come again. So my name is Noel Howard. I am not coward. I play guitar. Thank you.
I think it's my turn, right? Good evening, everyone. I'm a new Jolly Boys, 10 years now since I'm playing with Jolly Boys. I'm the banjo player. So I've been playing Jolly Boys I've been playing mental music since I was about 15. That's in the late 60s. But I started Jolly Boys 2009. So my name is Lenford Richards, Bluetooth.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Carl Thompson. I've been from Port Antonio up by a place they call Berrydale, 6 miles out of Port Antonio, as a raft captain also. So if anybody ever been in Jamaica, in Port Antonio, by Berrydale at the Rio Grande, I'm one of the raft captains from there. But I was been playing for a while with some guys, but singing Mento down the river. I even sang for Johnny Depp, which is a famous movie star. And then Mr. Bluetooth here invite me for a rehearsal at his place. So that's the way I became Jolly Boys. Now, thank you very much for listening.
Yes, probably the newest member, youngest maybe. Yeah, Donovan Miller, a drummer by profession, transformed into a percussionist for the Jolly Boys. Yeah, I used to be the engineer for the Jolly Boys for about 7 years now, at G Jams where John Baker owned and Rick used to take charge of things. So naturally I'm drawn to the music, so now I'm here as a member of the Jolly Boys as a percussionist. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Rick Elgood. I've been documenting Mento music on film and video since the early 90s, and I think it was a sort of natural progression. I kind of fell into managing the Jolly Boys because when they started recording the modern Mento version, I was the filmmaker who was documenting it, and then I kind of thought, okay, maybe I should go on the road and document it. And they said, well, if you're going on the road, why don't you manage them as well on the road? So it automatically happened, and we have made a 13-part reality show, which you may see sometime in the future, of the Jolly Boys touring everywhere from 25,000-seater arenas supporting Sade and little 3-person rum bars in the seafront in Port Antonio. It's been a journey. I'd just like to say one thing that Larry did not mention, and that, it kind of ties him back much more into the roots of the very beginning of the Jolly Boys, because one of the original members was named Lynch, and Larry, if he doesn't mind me saying so, is actually Lynch's stepson. And when he was a little boy, he used to see the original Jolly Boys practicing in his backyard. All right? Thank you.
I would like to start to clear up a common misunderstanding, because Mento is often confused with Calypso from Trinidad. Maybe you can enlighten us by telling us what are the typical features of Mento, the instruments, and what distinguishes Mento from Calypso.
For me, Mento is just a different rhythm, but the messages are the same with Calypso. It's a different rhythm. I hope I'm right.
I think Mento is the foundation, and reggae out of Mento. So Mento is the foundation of reggae.
think Mento carry a slower beat than the Calypso. Calypso is much faster beat. Mento is more slow. We don't use the drum set. We use like Congo drums or maracas and things like that. Soca use the trap set and it's much faster than. But the story is the same, you know, with Mento and Soca, Calypso. Same story.
Why I like Mento little different from the Calypso, because it carries a story behind it, always let you have to laugh if you listen clearly, it's always have a message. So it's much slower that you can hear much better. Calypso is much faster. As I'm the youngest one, so that's what I know. I just like the little story that Mento carries with it.
Mento, Calypso, they sound the same to me. The original early Calypso under the Mento, it's just almost the same to me. I'm not sure, but sometimes I can't tell the difference. From I know Calypso evolved into something different with a more dancey feel, you know, with different drums and, you know, with more guitars and all these things. But Mento, it's mostly traditional instrument like the guitar, the rumba box. I don't know if I hear maracas and, you know, yeah, sometimes the flutes, and if there's drums, usually it's just a bongo or a congo. So I think Mento is more traditional, yeah.
Okay, well, pre-war, we're talking about Second World War, there was Mento in Jamaica and there was Calypso in Trinidad. Okay, it just happened that the US naval base was in Trinidad. So you had songs coming out like Rum and Coca-Cola, and the Americans, the US market, got used to the sound and the name Calypso. So they took that back with them to the US. And after the end of the First World War, 1945 onwards, tourism opened again in Jamaica. And Americans would come down to Jamaica and they would be just thinking everybody in the Caribbean is the same, everybody playing the same music. Where's the Calypso band? We need a Calypso band. They wouldn't understand what Mento band was. So you found that a lot of Jamaican Mento bands changed their name to Calypso, or they called themselves Mento Calypso for the American tourist market. But secretly underneath it was all Mento. Thank you.
When doing research about the Jolly Boys, we came across very contradicting sources that, you know, there was different years of when the Jolly Boys was formed. Some went back as far as 1945, some said the 50s. Maybe you can enlighten us about when exactly and how the Jolly Boys were formed, even though none of you look like you could have formed a band in 1945.
Hello? Yeah. All right. So, pre-1945, you had bands that played at weddings, funerals, and parties. And they used to play what they called, mostly used to play what they called quadrille music, which was a formal dance, like square dancing. And it was kind of like an international music from way back in colonial times that they used to dance in the balls with the ball grounds and such and so forth. But always during this time, they used to do it in sets, say sets of 4 figures, and then the fifth dance would be this thing where you could brock out, right? And that was a mento. So people started to like the mento more than the formal dancing, so eventually the quadrille disappeared. So originally, around 1940s, you had the Jolly Boys, and they would be what you call an ensemble band, just a number of people getting together who would go to a party and go and play. So they didn't really have a specific name until Errol Flynn came down to Jamaica, and because he owned Navy Island, he bought Navy Island, or the story is that he won it in a gambling game after about 3 or 4 bottles of rum, right? And he bought Navy Island, and the Jolly Boys, as they were known then as he called them the Navy Island Swamp Boys, because there was a swamp in the middle and they just wanted to give them a name. So they started playing for him all the time. And the people, you know, some of the original members like Moses Deans and Lynch and those guys from the early days were there and used to play for him as the Navy Island Swamp Boys. A lot of people have different theories about how they became the Jolly Boys, but one that I happen to believe is that they had some kind of argument after a party, probably over, you know, a girl or a rum or money or something, who knows. And they kind of split up, and then they reformed, and they got a job playing at the Titchfield Hotel and the Frenchman's Cove Hotel. I don't know if anybody knows Port Antonio, but so they moved in there, and the owner of the hotel said, look, you know, we've got tourists here. We can't call you the Navy Island Swamp Boys. Yeah, you're so happy. We need to be happy. We're going to call you the Jolly Boys. So that was it. So in about 1950, I would say the name became the Jolly Boys. And they played for a little while. So you had the original foundation members, and then you had dear Johnny, Derek Henry, who passed in February this year. And he joined, he was a bottle washer-upper at the hotel. And I think one night somebody didn't turn up for the show. And they said, come man, come in, dance and shake the maracas. So when he was 16 at this time, he joined the band. And he played with Moses and Cox and Lynch right through the later part of the 50s, up into the 60s, when you had Alan Swimmer, who... Alan's still around, but unfortunately he, yet again, is an elder gentleman and is unable to play properly now or travel, but he's still a respected member of the Jolly Boys. And then you have eventually Powder Bennett, Joseph Powder Bennett, and then you have Noel here coming in the late 70s, I would say, early 80s. Noel came in. And then you have other people coming out, and then you have other people coming in, and as you said, you know, probably about 15 to 20 migrant members of the Jolly Boys until Brutus became the band leader, and these guys came back in again. An ancestral Jolly Boy, an ancient Jolly Boy returned, right? The youngest Jolly Boy now, and of course, you know, the guy who was doing the sound mixing, an excellent percussion engineer. So now that's where we are today. And we do hope, of course, that this will carry on and be ever evolving, but I want these guys to be around for at least another 30 or 40 years.
And Rick, you just said about the changing members, you know, and to look at it, they mostly came from the same area, or some were even a bit related, and I have the feeling that it is a very communal form of music. Maybe we can talk a bit about this aspect, gentlemen.
I didn't get that.
Yeah, that it is more like a communal form of music, you know, where people in the community come together, play at like weddings, play at funerals, and even the changing casts of members come from the same areas and spread the music.
Yes, we all belong to the same parish, Port Antonio. We're all friends long time. I know Larry for a long while. I know Nola for a long time. I know Ben's for a long time. So we're all like a family. So we always play music. I used to be a lead guitarist for Burning Spear. You toured the world of Burning Spear, all over the world from late 70s, 90s. So I'm really a guitar player for original Burning Spear. I introduced to Jolly Boys I played mentor for I was 15 years old. All the guys always come and take me and I play mentor, but I'm a reggae musician for years, playing with Burning Spear, Rita Marley, everybody. I play guitar, so. But mentor's a music I love, so I started playing with the Jolly Boys since 2009. And I leave alone because Albert is gone, the lead singer, Johnny. So I'm the oldest one leaving the group. So we gotta keep Mentor going. Can't stop it.
Port Antonio is a small town, you know, so pretty much we all know each other from. Brutus is my friend, well, friend of my older brother, and he's always looking out for me. So it's a small community, and we earn our money from tourism. So, you know, when one player moves out, we try to find another one to fit in. So we try to keep the tradition going like a family, and, you know, we just stick together as a unit. Yeah, everybody. And we stick together and we earn. Pity we don't earn as much these days because the tourism business is, you know, not so well in Portland, so we have to keep moving out. And it's good to be here to play for you guys. Yes.
And the lyrics of Mento music often seem lighthearted and also humorous. So maybe you can talk a bit about the topics you sing about in the music.
Well, I am the leading singer for the Jolly Boys right now. So I used to, in my community, because rafting is there, so some guys used to play by the wayside, by the river. So I always go down there, sail my own raft, go down there and listen to them, catch a few words from them. Sometimes even put it the wrong way, but I got some other guys that I go around and I learn from them. So that's how I just love mentor music, and then I just connect up with Bluetooth. But I used to play go to the hotels and sing at most of the hotels in Port Antonio. So, the story about mentor, sorry, the talking parrot. It's a funny song. It's about a man, a woman, and a parrot. The woman is cheating on the man, so the man has to buy a parrot to catch up with that woman. So the man is Danny, the lady is Helen, the parrot is Pretty. So it's like, I nearly lose my life in Spanish town through a talking parrot that was around. I married a man home, I stole a chance. The man came while me in romance. The man rush in the house, the girl rush out. In the excitement, the parrot shout, Danny, a man inside. Search while he's gone and hide. Danny, search all about. For a fellow went inside and don't come back out.
I think, yeah, mentor music is stories, and they are really funny, humorous stories about mainly relationships. So if you can tell a good story about a relationship, you'll have people's attention.
What I think about mental music, it brings people together. And it is very good to bring people together. Thank you.
Yeah, mental music does bring people together. There's one particular song, right, called Night Food, right? I don't know if anybody knows the song Night Food. Anybody know what night food is? Yeah? All right, well, in the 1950s when this was recorded by Chin's Calypso Quintet in Kingston, right? It became, overnight, it became like the biggest selling Jamaican record of all time. Everybody going to the record store was coming out with a red label, Night Food, I've got it, right? And questions were raised in Parliament in Jamaica, you know, because there were objections made by certain bishops in the church and ministers in Parliament to the record, and they actually banned it, right, because of the subject matter. What they said was that they thought that possibly some children might get to hear the lyrics, and instead of thinking that this was like some overnight food they might leave in the fridge for tomorrow morning, you know, for breakfast, they might imagine that it's something else where you don't need a knife and fork and a plate. Anyway, night food. Thank you.
As Ellen said in her introduction, the origins of Mento go all the way back to the times of slavery. Now I wonder how this terrible experience kind of translates into those humorous lyrics with sexual innuendo and all these things.
Yeah.
I'm just a little part of the night food because it's so exotic, so I don't want it to be. And okay, it goes like this. I really thought that I was wise, till a lady let me realize, to the proper knowledge I was down. I did not know what they call night food. The rain began to fall, the night was dark, and a lady friend I have to park. She come and say, why you stay outside? When there is warmer food is inside. I wonder what they call this night food, if it really tastes so good. Now I want a lady know if it tell me why. This night food is so very high. I was so very hungry and cold. Once in my life I acting bold. I went right in the ladies' room, but sorry, it nearly cost me doom. Inside have some nice food. I hope you are in the heating mood. But it sounded to me very strange, because she did not visit the kitchen range. I wonder what they call this night food, and if I eat it.
You want to add something? Yeah, okay, Rick wants to add something.
Hello? Yeah, I think going back to the original question, that the transition time, you know, for when Mento music was becoming popular, and I think that it kind of didn't deal specifically with emancipation and the slavery period. It kind of later started touching on social issues. In particular, the song that Harry Belafonte made popular, Deo, right? He was talking about the lot, how hard it was for the banana loaders working on the wharf in Port Antonio, and how they only got paid enough to get a little drink of rum or something like that, you know, at the end of a hot night's work. They couldn't work in the day because it was too hot. You know, it was they were commenting on the wicked way that the National Fruit Company dealt with the workers loading the bananas in the banana wharf. So really it only touched on the social issues and did not really directly allude back to pre-emancipation time.
Okay, thank you. And, you know, Mento songs are like oral history, which is passed on from generation to generation. And we would like to play a few snippets of some of the Jolly Boy recordings and ask you to tell us how they came about and what they are about. And the first one would be, as the session is called, Take Me Back to Jamaica. Take me back to Jamaica.
Take me back to Jamaica, we rock. Take me back to Jamaica, we were born. Where the green back to Jamaica where I were born. Take me back to the island in the sun. Take me back to the sunny land of Pan. Oh, la, la, la. Where we all can sit and dine off unto the sunny, sunny land of mine. Take me back to Jamaica where I were born.
Yeah, who of the gentlemen can tell us something about this song?
Okay. If anybody has ever been to Jamaica, you know what it's like, especially Portland. It's like heaven. Though I've never been to heaven, but you know, we have rivers, you know, where we can go and fish, swim, and you know, it's cool in the hills. The terrain is, you know, pretty much like what you see outside, but it's much greener, much more fertile, and you know, it has everything anybody would want to live around. So, you know, anytime we travel and we have been away for any number of time, when we perform, as soon as we perform, we want to go back home. So as soon as I'm done here, just take me back to Jamaica. Spain is nice, but Jamaica is my home, yeah.
I can understand this very well, especially Portland is so beautiful, you're so right. And the next tune I would like to play now is Big Bamboo. Yeah, and did the tourists know what they were listening to?
Sorry. There's a part in the Big Bamboo that I like so much. Is when I give a woman a banana plant, and she said to me it was elegant, but it's much too nice for it to waste, but it's little too soft to suit my taste.
Yeah, I give my woman a coconut. And she says, it's lots of nuts and nothing but. Although I'm trying to be good to she, what good are the nuts without the tree? Thank you.
In Portland, we have a lots of bamboo there.
Okay. We all know that the bamboo is a grass. It's a form of grass, a tall grass, grew up to maybe 20, 30 feet, and we use it to make raft, you know, so it's a very popular plant. It's long, and you have some that's very thick. Especially so you can imagine that, you know, it's a favorite, especially for the ladies. Yes.
Then another part says, I give a woman a sugar cane. Sweet, oh sweet, she did explain. She handed it back to my surprise. She loved the flavor, but not the size. She wanted it. That's a sugar cane.
Sugar cane is too small.
Whenever time you come back to Jamaica, come Port Antonio, do rafting on the Rio Grande. You will find me there.
You'll be sitting on bamboos.
Yeah, question. Yeah, okay. Yeah, so when you check the history of the Jolly Boys, the group in one form or another made quite a lot of recordings in Jamaica as well as outside of Jamaica. And so I'm mindful that the track you played earlier, the first track, was recorded back in 1972. And I'm aware that in the 70s, the group recorded for producers like Herman Chinloy and Sonia Pottinger. And I'm direct this question to Noel Howard, because I think you've been with the group the longest. What's the first recording that you made with the Jolly Boys, and who did you make it for?
Bear Giants and Sunshine.
Sorry,
That's
can you say
that's
that
the
again?
first, yeah.
You say the record was called Sunshine?
Bear Giant and Sunshine.
Okay. Early 90s. But so, didn't you also play on the Pop and Mento album? 89, something like that?
Yeah.
Okay, so you could give a little taste of track 6, if you desire, and see what you can tell us about it.
Well, I have a little hoarseness. I really can go on. I'm so sorry.
Okay. If you want to play the track just for us to hear it or not, it's up to you. Track 6.
Track 6, okay, if you want.
I'm sorry, track 6 is not playing.
Okay, try track 7.
Oh yeah, that's the one we plan to play anyways. And it's also not playing. Sorry.
Okay, well, technical issues. Just play whatever you like.
Try the tenement yard. Yeah, who can tell the story of... It's working now?
Mabel wrote a letter to her boyfriend Joe. She wants to go to Africa long ago and won a prize in the late date show of the lovely watermelon. It is the biggest and the best in Africa. This thing really is a lovely sight. And she told me that when she goes to Africa, she's gonna have a little slice each night of that lovely, lovely watermelon. Sweet, sweet watermelon, man. Spicy, nice, and juicy watermelon. I really need a little slice each night.
Anybody wants to comment on this?
Well, the first, we record at Trident in Jamaica. And that is our recording, a man from in the state named Michael Limbo. So I know that as so far.
And since time is really running out, I'm just shocked because we have so many questions still, so I would really go to a fast forward. In 2008, the Jolly Boys became the house band of the G-Jam Hotel, owned by the British music producer John Baker. And this led to the album Great Expectation. Maybe you can tell us the story, you know, how you met and how the album came about, and I don't know, who of the gentlemen?
That's where I came in right now, G-Jam. I was working for John Baker as a musical director for the new album Great Expectation, but we have a little problem with the older musicians. They couldn't adapt to the different progressions and changes, so that's where I came in and start training. Then I have to start playing these songs because there was so many different progressions moving around. So I started playing the guitar. Then I ended up moving to the banjo. So that's the story there.
Yeah, and I guess a lot of people know the album, but it was really like pop classics which were transformed into mento music. And maybe we hear one song, The Rehab, and then we can talk about it again. Or you want to say something before, Rick?
Yeah, I'll just say, okay, the Jolly Boys at that time were playing around various hotels in Port Antonio. And one evening they came to play in the G-Jam Bush Bar restaurant. Right, there was another producer from England called Mark Jones. Mark Jones from a company called Wall of Sound. They do a lot of house music and various rock stuff. He was watching them, and he was just going, wow, you know, this guy Albert is incredible, this band, I've never heard this before. And he just had this idea. He said, well, hey, wouldn't it be crazy if they did Rehab by Amy Winehouse? Do you think they could do it? So just a week later, they pulled them into the studio and they did Rehab, and then we started making a list of other cover versions like Passenger, Iggy Pop, Perfect Day, Lou Reed. The whole idea being that this would launch mento music in a, let's call it modern mento music, in a different form into the world again. And then on the back of that, we would be then able to bring back traditional mento music to the same audiences that had been, whose ears had been opened up to the modern mento sound. And that is why we are here today, tonight, playing roots mento, not playing the modern classics. That was the previous incarnation, right? It's all roots mento now, going back to the albums that Noel was on, that David here was talking about earlier. So Amy Winehouse actually heard the Rehab song, gave permission for it to be used. She actually came to G-Jam Studios to record her last album. She didn't end up recording anything, but she wrote some songs, and she did actually meet the Jolly Boys at that time. Anyway, over to Rehab.
Pete, can you play the tune?
They tried to make me go to rehab, but I said no, no, no. Yes, I've been black, but when I come back, you will know, no, no. I ain't got the time, and if mommy thinks I'm fine, they tried to make me go to rehab, but I won't go. I would rather stay at home with faith, yeah. I don't got 70 days, 'cause there is nothing you can teach me that I cannot learn from Mistress Hathaway. I don't got a lot in
But it's just, I think it's just beautiful to see how these pop songs can be turned into mento. Give thanks, gentlemen. Yeah, Pierre has a question before we open it up.
Working. About the Great Expectation, I heard that after the recognition you had from the record, you were invited by Sade to open their concert on a worldwide tour. So I would like to know what about that experience to travel with Sade and open the air concerts. Okay.
Time now, man. That was an experience touring. How much shows you do? 5 weeks on the road with Sade. Was something else. I didn't get to meet her till the last show though. But we played some nice, good O2 Arena. Was a good tour. I don't remember much about that. It was 2000 or what, Rick? 2013. Okay. See, my memory is really going. I can't remember anything that much. 2013. Yeah. We do have I don't know.
Okay, I would really like to open it up now to the audience to ask their questions. So, yeah, we have a gentleman over there.
Yeah, I have one question. You mentioned that the album Great Expectations was, to make mento more popular in the world, and I want to know what is the feedback from that album? What is going on with contemporary mento music in Jamaica? Because I think it's not very popular for young persons because for several reasons. And the second question I have, we have many reggae festivals in the world, and we have ska festivals. Is there also a mento festival? You're laughing? I just, want to know because I don't know. Thanks.
All right. I think Rehab revisited mento for a lot of people. A lot of the young artists and people that I work with, dancehall DJs and reggae artists and stuff have heard of the long-time band, the History Men, the Jolly Boys, and in particular Rehab. And of course, they all know about mento music. It's been there in the cultural foundation. The JCDC program has schools, mento competitions, so, they keep it alive. There are a number of mento bands, and usually the thing is that they play locally. They don't really play in the festivals. It's only the Jolly Boys who've been invited to things like Rebel Salute and Independence Day parades. Mento music its real market is out in Europe and the US, right? It is appreciated by world music lovers, historical music lovers, people who kind of research it a little more and are more open to it. Yes, the answer is, the youth in Jamaica really are either into their roots or they're into their dancehall. Was that the right answer? Thank you. Oh, sorry. Recently, the Institute of Jamaica had a mento festival, but also here in Spain, in Valencia, there is a mento band. What's the name? Raul Frutas, I think, is the singer for the mento band, and they do have a festival where they play mento once a year, and it's called something like One Piece Festival, I believe it's called, and it was the last show that Albert Minot did. He came to Valencia and played 2 years ago. And I think they keep that festival going. But worldwide, no Mento festival. Having said that, there is a Mento band in the Philippines as well. Filipinos. Okay.
Hi, thank you for coming here with us and share that good time. So my question is, can we consider that our dancehall coming from mental, because talking about bamboo and listening dancehall right now, maybe we can think that dancehall coming from bamboo, or I don't know, maybe. Thank you.
Yeah, I think that the slackness today in dancehall music is very much more open and outspoken than it was in the time of Mento music, where, as we were saying, it's kind of hidden and couched in a kind of double meaning language. There was a little crossover time. There's a song called "Sammy's Dead," right? Is it called Sammy? Sammy dead, Sammy dead, Sammy. Right, and both Elephant Man and Beanie Man used that Mento rhythm to record dancehall tunes. You will maybe know, if you know dancehall, you maybe know Chaka Chaka by Elephant Man. That was a Mento rhythm that they used.
Hello? Okay. I've read somewhere that way before Rastafari, there was a folk song in Barbados called the King Jaja. And I was wondering if that was ever made into a mento in Jamaica, or if you have ever heard about this song. It was about very, very long time ago.
Not familiar with that one at all, but there was a song written, I think, in the late 50s and early 60s, which alluded to the Back to Africa and Rastafarian movement. And I think it was called something like Going to Ethiopia, and it was a Mento tune. So, there was that kind of crossover. And obviously, these guys, they came out to the 1950s, everybody had a different style, but, obviously even the Mento players, learned a lot of Rasta consciousness, started smoking ganja, grew locks, and yet still played Mento music alongside reggae music and praise of Rastafari.
Oh, hey there, gentlemen. And could you tell me why is banjo so important in Mento music, and how did this instrument, banjo, came to Jamaica and how it became that important? Thank you very much.
Well, we don't know. The banjo is way older than any one of us. I don't know anything about the banjo than it has a unique sound, and it's very suited for Mento music.
Banjo was originating from Africa, from West Africa, so that's all I know about banjo. I just played.
Okay, we have one more question. Okay.
Hello. Another question. I'm from Russian media, Daily Vibes, and back in Russia, the older generation of people, our grandparents, love gardening, love grow plants in their free time. So, what do you love to do in your free time back in Jamaica?
Well, as I only can speak for myself, I live. Mic check, yeah. I live by the river, they call it Rio Grande, where the most rafting goes on. So all I do is, when my free time, is swim, walk around, talk to different people, because a lot of tourists goes there. So We have the Scatterfall, we have the Fax Cave. I just have a lot of fun in Berrydale, so where I come from. So I don't know for others.
Yeah, I like to grow ganja.
Yes. I like to farm, I like to swim, I like to play music, and, you know, I like ladies.
As for me, any one of you have ever had jerk chicken? I am one of the best jerk chicken man in Jamaica. If you come to Port Antonio, just check out for Larry, the Jolly Boys.
Well, in my free time, I work for my belly. I do farming.
Well, I don't have much free time and I'm always working. I run a pub, I'm in a gambling house, like gaming. I love swimming, drinking rum, party. That's my free time.
Okay, we got everybody now. So I want you all invite tonight, of course, to the main stage, 11:30, the Jolly Boys. You cannot miss this. And please give them another round of applause. And don't forget, we have a very tight program tomorrow, starting with the film 25 Years Walking Together, the Rototom Sunsplash film. After that, Ethiopia and Rastafari to the world with the grandson of His Imperial Majesty. And after that, we have 3 Signs of a Coin with Bushman, Jazzy T, and Stoneboy. So, you know, make sure you be here. And please, another round of applause for the Jolly Boys and Rick Elgood.